And now I invite the pioneer in various, a person who has seen a vision of global cities with smart solutions, a very renowned personality, Mr. Nikhil Gandhi, Chief Mentor of Navi Mumbai Smart City Infrastructure Limited, for a 5 minutes presentation.
Mishra sir and all the senior colleagues here from the trade industry, the government departments. I'm Nikhil Gandhi. Just a few line introduction. We are the infrastructure pioneer in this country. Our company started our first private sector infrastructure project in 1990, almost a year and a half ahead of economic reforms introduced by then Finance Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh. We built India's first private sector seaport, to date largest private sector railway line, first expressway, first rail logistics, first special economic zone, and the largest naval shipbuilding and offshore engineering facilities. All of them, 5 of them in Gujarat and 1 in Maharashtra. Before I talk about the very few slides I want to show, in 2001, I've been to Korea. I was taken there by Morgan Stanley, a real estate investment trust managing director, and the biggest billionaire in the real estate segment in the world, called Jerry Hines from US. And this place called Songdo. Songdo was a marshy land, and it was a scary sight actually. There was 6 to 8 meters of filling, and he said, I'm going to make a smart city. What do you mean by smart city? And then he talked about what is that he's going to do. And 14 years later, when I went there, I could not believe. I was completely pleasantly shocked to see how $59 billion has gone into the development of Songdo, which I'll show you a few of the slides. And I was quite both very pleased and depressed. Pleased because what I saw, depressed because I thought, why can't India do something like this? Because we have no dearth of visionaries, we have no dearth of doers. Some of the Indians rule the roost in the world market. Some of the top corporations are controlled by the Indians, and then still we are far behind. The second such development I saw, that was way back in 1997, and again I went there after many, many years, Suzhou, which is south of Shanghai, which was developed jointly by the Chinese and Singaporean government company called Jurong Town. And these are the 2 examples, a real example of smart city. So my view may be slightly different than many other views here. Pardon me for that, and I would just like to take you through the slides. I think we must compliment Government of India for coming out with one of the most boldest, path-breaking and visionary policy. But ultimately, as Mishra sir has said, that icing on the cake is ICT, but real development is a brick and mortar. Unless and until the brick and mortar comes into play, ICT has no role to play. So this is one of the finest policy, and I think the government's developmental agenda can be met through by creating something new, greenfield preferably, because that's where you can attract a very large investment, you can generate a very large number of jobs, and also decongest the existing city. I'm a migrant to this city. There are 15 million plus in this city. The people from all over the country, when they migrate from their respective place where they want to go to, Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, Madras, this city will choke. So you have to decongest the cities, and if the development based on the policy of the government of India is achieved, the existing city will also get a lot of vibrancy. So this is, I think, this policy of the Government of India, why I'm enamored with that after a long time, that this is the largest brick and mortar opportunity for Indian businesses and for the global investors. Somebody told me that I want to invest, I'm very fascinated with the smart city policy and concept. How do I invest? Where do I go to? So I had no answer, because we need to demonstrate that these are the 5 cities which are under construction or being developed or being launched. For example, today we heard for the first time that CITCO is going to launch their smart city. Maybe they will have an opportunity. This is one of the largest pension fund in the world, who is my investor. So they would love to invest, but they need a platform. Where do they invest? So this is, I think, the policy offers that opportunity. It's a great multiplier effect. I think this is the highest ever. I think the economic growth, a further new round of reforms can be led by this policy. And I'm making a statement, though I'm not qualified to do so, but I think as a businessman and a successful businessman, I can see clearly that when you invest $1 in building the greenfield smart city, the user's investment, those who would build the hospital, school, residential, commercial, entertainment, and variety of things, those investment would worth about 15. So it's a 1:15 is a great ratio. Typically on 1,000 acre of development, which I've seen in the world market, about $2 billion of direct investment is required. That means $30 billion of users investment would be required. So this is one policy or one department of the government, the Ministry of Urban Development or the Urban Development Department of the respective states. They can lead from the front the economic development in a big way using this policy. And in a few slides, next couple of slides later, I will just show you what is my thought about it. So I think it is important that the smart city concept, of course, you have to make the existing city vibrant, whatever you can improve upon, but the challenges are going to be immense because of the historic reasons. In the existing city, you can't uproot your electricity line or sewage line or water supply line. You don't even get 1 foot of land to expand your road. Yet, there will be an opportunity to do some development here and there, and people will have an innovative mind to do so. But the real development would be on a greenfield, where your vision can be implemented in toto. If you give me a Picasso painting and you expect me to draw over that, I will only do disaster. But if you give me a clean canvas, I may not be as good as Picasso, but I will try to do very near to that. So it's all about, the smart city is all about building the brand new cities where a large amount of brick and mortar will come into play. If you recall, some of the senior people would recall that during Prime Minister Vajpayee's time, they came up with the economy was static. It was actually sleepy. And we had barely $24 billion foreign exchange reserve. That is the time the Golden Quadrilateral Road project was introduced. And economy started moving because you need cement, steel, concrete, equipment, system, you generate new jobs. In an existing setup, the new jobs will not be as much. Yes, the citizen's life will become much easier, which is very important because, and I love to do so because I love in a city like Bombay, where it's required a lot of improvement. So I'll be very happy. But can we create a humongous number of jobs, large number of jobs? I have my doubt. The smart city is expected to provide best of business, living, learning, recreation, health, smart features, and smart solutions. So all those things, if you bring in the Cisco of the world or Jurongtan of the world or Siemens of the world and variety of such companies, they will have a better opportunity to demonstrate their capability and their vision if they are provided the blank canvas, the freelance. As we are all aware that the land acquisition is going to be the biggest challenge. It is currently today, and it's going to be bigger and bigger challenge. Whether the land acquisition bill is passed in the parliament or not, the challenge is going to be there, because for a farmer, a 2-acre land is more valuable than your 10,000 crore rupees worth of project. And we understand that. So people who has a land, the government must partner with that, because this is the kind of policy framework which is bound to succeed more if it is PPP, because if I'm a user of a city, I'll feel more comfortable if government is also attached, some way partnering with the project, because city like this is not built by private sector ever before. So while private sector is most welcome, but the government participation will go a long way. As I said that we already covered that the development is possible, but significant development is not possible, and certainly you cannot create the large number of jobs. For a 1,000-acre development, which I have seen worldwide, and I have seen many, Tianjin, Santao, Suchao, Shenzhen, Songlo, Milton Keynes, and some more. So on an average, 1,000-acre greenfield development could generate economic activities for almost 500,000 people, which is a lot if it is next to tier 1. If it is next to tier 2, maybe half of that. But it's still a lot. So if you create 10 greenfield cities, the number of jobs it will create is mind-blowing. And this is the kind of policy I think whether you are a government or a private sector, we're looking for it. And this is a beautiful platform which is ready. And the building of such greenfield cities will create a tremendous economic activities. I already covered that, golden quadrilateral. So this is the photograph which I was very proud of and also felt a little depressed that 14 years ago, 2001, when Mr. Jerry Hines, he himself is a great visionary, he took me there and it was a swampland, marshy land. And I said, how much is the depth here, sir? He said 6 to 8 meters. 6 to 8 meters, all your billions will disappear. And today, when I went there in 2014, I could not believe what was done in 14 years. If they can do it, we can do it as well. And then I came back and I got an opportunity to meet with the then Prime Minister Vajpayee sir, and I submitted a 3-page note, a global cities with the smart solutions. And he asked me, आप खाली ये ही लाए हैं या इसके साथ में आप इसको कैसे आगे बढ़ाएंगे उसका भी कुछ माइंड में आप सोच के कुछ आए हैं. So it was a very wonderful question. I couldn't believe that, but that was the time. Of course, we didn't move forward there. But this Songlo, when I went there and to see that how it has actually come out, I just couldn't believe that. I mean, this is something we Indian can very well do it. Suchao is again a marshy land, and it was developed by it was a vision of late Lee Kuan Yew, by the way. This is not Chinese smart cities and SEZs are the vision of late Lee Kuan Yew, who actually, incidentally, I must spend a minute to say that maybe Dadu sir would be interested to hear this. In 1965, we were here and China was here. In 1980, we were almost same. In 1997, when I first went to China, China was here and we were here, and I could figure out that place like Shenzhen, which was a fisherman hamlet, and 2,000 population, about 10,000 yuan revenue, that was in 1981. In 16 years, thanks to the vision of Lee Kuan Yew, it was $45 billion exports, 4 million jobs, and this just is seen to be believed facilities. And then I was a proud team member when late Murasoli Maran went to see in 1999. When I came and made a presentation to Mr. Nipendra Mishra, who was then Additional Secretary of Commerce, and he could not believe that what I was talking about. And then a big team went to China, and I was a part of that. And it was something which was completely mind-blowing. So Chinese growth is all attributed to the creation of such smart cities and the special economic zone. And so something like that I always dreamt about in my lifetime. If something like this we can create, even in a smaller scale or a lesser scale. But something like this is very possible. So, coming back to, in 1965, India built the first free zone in Kandla. In 1970, we went to Singaporeans. Singaporeans came to us, Jurong town, to learn from our Kandla experience. 6 years later, 76, they came back to teach us how to do it better. And we were perhaps an arrogant regime then, and we said that how can a small city state can teach a full grown country like India? So we turned them back. That annoyed Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, late Lee Kuan Yew, and he was annoyed till such time he died. So he went to China, and in 79 he convinced Chinese that what is good for you, create an island of excellence, and where the business should be run by business, for business, by business like. And he sent Jurong town to support, and they built the two first, one SEZ and one smart city. So that was India's loss was China's gain. Actually what China did today, India could have done that. Anyway, better late than never. and we are late, but we could be latest also. So, Mr. Sir, you are in charge of this. You are a visionary. I must compliment you for this policy and the initiatives. I think what is the government could do is to try and secure the people, whether it's a government agency or a private agency who has the land, and partner with them. Such PPP enterprise will go a long way. By the way, I am the most successful PPP company in the country. All my 7 projects, the government is a shareholder. To talk about railways, 50-50 joint venture. People wrote our obituary when the Ministry of Railways made a decision to invest 50% in a company. So the project which was built for 380 crores, they thought railway can never make money. I am proud to say in 11 years, this project is worth 3,800 crores. So 10 times in 11 years, how many projects in the country you can make money like that? So each of the project has been a stupendous story and a very big success story. So PPP is the way to go, which government may consider. I think such powerful vision and the policy can have the humongous impact on the economy. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. I request you to be on stage for a minute. So please be on stage for a minute. I would like to request Director IT to please present a memento to our industry expert, Mr. Nikhil Gandhi. Round of applause. Thank you very much, sir.